My name's Tony Yates. The company I sold was Vix Digital. I was the CTO for that company, and Rachel helped me get an 8-figure exit. Vix Digital were a digital agency, and we focused on engineering velocity, specifically within large healthcare complex systems. Our background is interoperability, integration, and embedding ourselves within other organizations. I mean, we've grown like organically since 2011 without investment. We were completely bootstrapped. The company was started by my wife and myself. The kind of company wasn't for sale, but we were approached with Livy, who we were embedded within. So we were helping them with lots of integration things within their ecosystem. And they approached us really just talking about the possibility of selling the business because we'd become so embedded within their company and their culture. And that's when I started to think about actually, maybe it's worth exploring an exit. We were a good little business, good lifestyle business, no real massive intentions of, getting an exit. For me, it was always about the impact of the work I was doing. That's why I've always gone for the large things, the things that are really difficult in healthcare. And that's kind of the whole career for me, 20 odd years working in healthcare and tech. So I'm kind of happy with that journey, and there were no real aspirations to go for an exit, but like I say, the opportunity came and presented itself, right place, right time. And that's the moment where we thought, it's worth taking a look and seeing if this is going to work out for us. But we went into that with an open mind, like both parties knew that we may not do it, but we could still continue working together. It didn't have to be this is the only way for us to continue working together. I've known Rachel for the biggest part of a decade now. We've worked together embedded in the NHS. We've partnered on many things since then, both Vix Digital and different. Rachel was the first person I called for advice, knowing her skills, her background, what it's like to work with her. And just that, she'd just been through this journey herself with her own exit with Different. So all the kind of things that I knew I would be facing, I knew Rachel had just been through them. And there's, real world advice is much better than some consultancy company that's just basically trying to skim off the top of an exit. So I knew I'd get some really good impartial advice, and I knew she'd have my interests at heart as well, and not just an exit. Selling a business wasn't my skill set. It's not something I'd done before or even considered, as we've just talked about. I considered using a company to help manage and sell the business. I'd looked around at some of the companies and how to obtain a valuation. Terms like EBITDA and things weren't that common to me at that time. So I started looking at different companies to try and understand which company to pick, and that's kind of how I started talking to Rachel, trying to understand which route to go down, who I should kind of go for, what kind of deal I should be looking for with these companies. And I quickly realized that I actually didn't need anybody else. I got everything I needed from Rachel. She knew I wanted to get the exit done quickly, mainly due to being deeply embedded within that company at the time. So it were in both parties' interest to get the deal done quickly. So bringing in external companies to help manage that process, we're only going to slow things down, make it more complex, inflate fees and costs at both sides. And Rachel, like I say, had the best interests of me at heart. So I just used Rachel to help me get it over the line. Well, I think the aspiration was to kind of sell the business and not feel like it was a mistake. And that's the thing that were really troubling me in the early days. Like, I didn't want to sell and regret it. I'd built up a business since 2011, a decade of, blood, sweat, tears, energy, sacrifice. This thing had become my baby. And that were kind of like how I went into thinking about what the value was. So it weren't just about like the number that I could get, it was the value of the process and me being comfortable at the end of it and not feeling like I'd regretted it and made a really big mistake. Rachel helped me get a good understanding of how to value my business. We didn't have many tangible assets. We didn't have machinery. We were a service-based business, which is always difficult when you're trying to value people and contracts. So it's a very unique kind of space. And Rachel really helped me understand how to value my business and the size of my business. And obviously, having been through that experience herself with Different, she got a really good grasp of what the numbers should look like and how the earn-out schedule should look. And I think that was a big thing that Rachel actually did. She helped me understand how to get an earn-out schedule I was comfortable with, and also having a really high level of control over achieving the targets that were agreed within it. So it weren't just some kind of number the company had to hit, it was something that the company had to hit, but I were in control of helping them achieve that. And that's what ultimately led to a really good outcome for me, and a kind of acquisition that I've not regretted and I'm really happy with. There's always things you can learn and improve upon, but there's nothing really I can think of what I would change. It worked out really great. I'm still embedded inside that company at the moment. I don't regret selling my business. I don't regret the framework that Rachel helped me put together. I don't regret the earn-out schedules that were put in place. So it's really hard to say that I would do anything differently. In hindsight, you might think I might be able to get a bit more out of it. Equally, in hindsight, I was kind of really lucky because the deal presented itself at the time it did. So I can't really say I would change anything about it, really. It's far better to work with people who have been through this process than people who have not. And there are many companies out there who will help you sell your business. But what I would ask is, have those people actually solved a business themselves, or are they just working for a company that deals with selling and buying businesses? Rachel's done this a number of times now. She gives great advice, but like I said earlier, she really cares about what it means for the seller, much more than just the sale figure price. And that's why I don't regret how I tackled it with Rachel. So that would be the advice I would give to people.